How is structuralism as a way of approaching text and practices? Structuralism is an intellectual tendency that seeks to understand and explain social reality in terms of social structures. Structuralist readings focus on how the structures of the single text resolve inherent narrative tensions. If a structuralist reading focuses on multiple texts, there must be some way in which those texts unify themselves into a coherent system. By the end of the century, structuralism was seen as a historically important school of thought, but the movements that it spawned rather than structuralism itself commanded attention.
What if we could analyze a poem the same way we can analyze a chemical compound in a test tube? You know, break it down to small little bitty components, examine its part it's made of, and see how those parts fit together. This, in fact, is exactly what structuralism is all about. Structuralist theorists are interested in identifying and analyzing structures that underlie all cultural phenomena. Structuralists got the notion that everything could be analyzed in terms of a deep structure from the linguist named Ferdinand de Saussure. He came up with this idea that language is a sign system made of unchanging patterns and rules. The structuralists who were influenced by Saussure took that deep structure idea even deeper. If underlying patterns of structures govern language, they said, doesn't that mean that underlying patterns or structures shape all human experience? And because structuralism emerged from linguistics, theories from different schools make a big deal about the language. But what really is language anyway? Structuralists define language super broadly. Sure, language is a thing that we do when we open our mouth and put some words together in a sentence. But for structuralists, language can be any form of signaling, not just speech and words, but anything that involves communication. For example, red, yellow, and green traffic lights.
Structuralism assumed that all human social activities, the clothes we choose, the books we write, the cultural rituals we practice, constituent languages, and that their regularities can be therefore codified by the abstract set of underlying rules. For instance, the psychoanalyst of Jacques Lacan asserted that the unconscious was structured like a language, and Michael Foucault's early writing characterized knowledge as what can be spoken of in a discursive practice. Therefore, structuralism is the notion that language doesn't reflect or record the world rather than it shapes it, so that we see what we see.